Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of the Jennuine Life podcast, the lifestyle audio series where we prioritize peace, wellness, and living genuine lives on our own terms. I'm your host, Jennifer Nicole, but feel free to call me Jen, and I hope you had an amazing week since the last time that we connected. And I have to ask, how are you doing? Okay, I hope life is easy for you, and I hope that you're doing well. And today I am having a drink that I found off of TikTok, specifically Water Talk. And if you haven't heard of it, just put in hashtag Water Talk on TikTok and then you'll go down a rabbit hole. But basically it is for people who like to add a little bit of flavor to their water. And so I am sipping on water with a little bit of sugar-free cherry syrup and organic lemon juice kind of mixed in, and it literally tastes like a cherry lemonade. So don't say I didn't give y'all anything. But I say all this to say go ahead and grab your snacks and your beverages. Today's episode is, I wouldn't say it's long. I will say it could be heavy for someone. So yeah, go ahead and grab some snacks, get comfy, and let's dive right on in, okay? As you're listening to this episode, I am currently in Cancun. Now, I recorded this in Atlanta because your girl is starting to batch now, okay? She wants to make sure that you were never going to miss out on another episode. So, yes, I am recording ahead of time, okay? So, as you're listening to this, I am probably unloading my suitcase in my room. And this is actually my very first time in Cancun. I have never kind of wanted to go to Cancun. It just never appealed to me. I'm not a turn up kind of gal. And every time I saw Cancun, that's the only thing I can associate with it was partying. And when I go on vacation, I'm definitely, bring me my drink with the umbrella, put me by the pool, where's the food kind of person. I don't even need to do excursions. I'm fine. I just need to relax. And that's usually me. And so Cancun just never seems like the place that I need it to be. So I've always just gone to Cabo. If I was on a cruise, they usually take you to like Costa Maya or Cozumel. And I've just kind of steered clear of Cancun. But your girl is turning 40, okay, on the 24th. And I wanted to go into this new year visiting, trying, and doing something new. I'm really trying to push myself out of my comfort zone. So I'll be sharing more behind the scenes of my trip via a vlog on YouTube. And of course, little snippets on Instagram and TikTok as well. So of course, the links will be in the description if you're interested in following along. And Instagram messed around and gave me the ability to have subscribers. So if you have chosen to subscribe to my Instagram page, that means you are a VIP and you are going to get to see even more behind the scenes action of my first time in Cancun. So the stuff that I don't want my parents to see will be on the subscriber side of things. So yeah. But before I jump into anything in the meat of this episode today, I do want to say a special thank you for everyone who listened, shared, commented, texted me about my kickoff episode that aired last Tuesday. I'm really glad to hear that you all are enjoying it, and I look forward to bringing more content and podcast episodes to you. I want to send a special shout out to Yvonne, who literally, while listening to the episode, text a friend of hers who gave me the tea on filming my podcast and editing everything all at once. So just want to give her a special shout out. We love queens who don't gatekeep. Okay. So thank you both for your help. And that means that a YouTube podcast episode will be coming your way very soon. Okay. So, as I mentioned at the end of the last episode, that I wanted to talk about managing depression, anxiety, dark thoughts, everything we do our best to stay away from. And, I'm going to be sharing 3 things that I have to do in order to keep my depression and anxiety at bay. These are not things that I, am very lackadaisical about. I am very serious about them. I do not play around these 3 things. But first, a quick story time. And before I jump into the story, I do want to throw out a trigger warning. We will be taking a brief dive into talking about unaliving oneself. And so if suicide is not something that you want to hear, now would be the time to exit out of this episode. Like I mentioned, this may be heavy for some to hear, but I do think it is a very necessary conversation that must be had. And so we're going to get right into it, okay? I get into funks sometimes, okay? And I'm not talking about like, oh, I stubbed my toe, I need to go sit down somewhere kind of funk, or shoot, I missed the lottery by one number. You know, you're upset for like a couple of hours and then you get over it. I'm talking about funks that can last 2 to 3 days, sometimes a week. And during these times, I'm very quiet. I'm in bed. My thoughts are very racy, very cloudy. Feelings of just wanting to be alone. I will definitely feel like I'm a failure. I'm usually comparing myself to where I think I should be, to where I currently am. My living quarters is usually messy. It's just not fun, okay? And like I said, these normally last 2 to 3 days, maybe a week. But earlier this year, I had suffered probably one of the worst depressive episodes I had ever had. And I could not seem to pull myself out of this funk at all. And it was going on way longer than they normally do. I just could not figure out what it was. Like, it didn't... Sorry, I'm like getting super passionate in here. Let me just tell y'all. So I am in my closet because that's just where the best sound is when you're recording, and it's tight. Okay. So I just nearly almost knocked my recorder off. So it's probably the noise that you're going to hear in the background. But we keep things genuine over here. But I just want to give you a heads up. I'm not being like attacked or anything. I just dropped something. So anyway, back to the episode. So earlier this year, like I mentioned, I had one of the hardest depressive episodes I had ever had. I could not seem to pull myself out of this funk. It was going on way longer than it should have. And for the first time in my life, I had thoughts of suicide. And it wasn't even the thought of suicide that caused me to be afraid. It was the peace that came along with the thought. It was the clarity that I had. Like, I literally knew how I was going to do it. I would get these like quick downloads of things that I needed to put in my notes. Like, y'all, and I'm not trying to be funny or like pushy about this, but I need you to understand, like, this was extremely scary for me because it was very clear that this is what I should do, that the world would be a better place because of it. I would have peace, and that is what terrified me. It was the peace and the clarity that came along with such a decision that, you know, is scary. Well, scary to me. And so I knew I had to make a change in that moment. Like, this was not going to be my life. And it is also sometimes why I struggle when people say, oh my gosh, I love your energy, or oh, you're so inspiring. It's like, yeah, but it's because of all of this stuff that I am super comfortable being so honest and transparent, because it is my mission to make sure that no one else ever feels this way. Even if it's just 1 or 2 people that I can get to, I do not care. But I never want to be in that place, and I cannot even imagine someone else being in a place where they are seriously considering removing themselves from this world. And so, of course, I will be linking some resources. If you are someone who feels like you need to talk, and this is before I even get into these 3 things that I'm doing, and I'm not really sure who I'm talking to, because this is definitely not a part of what I wanted to say, but depression has a weird way of making you feel like you are absolutely alone in your thoughts and your feelings, and you're not. There are so many people that can relate to you. I'm not saying that's a good thing. It's bad that we all can relate to each other in this way, but it's good because you're not alone. And depression will certainly make you feel like you are. The enemy is really good at isolating and making you feel like that's the way to heal, being by yourself, being alone, and it is far from the truth. Even if you have to be around, and this is why I'm very big about who you hang around with, because there are friends that I can literally sit in silence with and all is well. Like, they get me. I just need their presence, right? And so I encourage you to tap into the people who genuinely care about you. They don't care about what they can get from you. It is more about how can they help. They just want to help because they see a better life for you than you do for yourself at this time, and you've got to let them in. And I think once I kind of got over this whole like paranoia that no one cares, people are using me, and we'll get into this because there's a lot of work that goes into getting into a peaceful place. But for me, it was these three things that I'm going to share with you that have helped me manage my anxiety and depression. But I just want to say what I am about to share is no cookie cutter solution. You may find 3 different things help you. What I want you to walk away with from this episode is whatever you need to do to manage these feelings. Please do it. Please prioritize it. The same way you prioritize getting up, getting dressed, and going into work, no matter how you feel, I need you to prioritize getting up and showing up for yourself, no matter how you feel. So let's get back. So basically, here are 3 things that I am doing. The first thing is I pay closer attention and track how certain people, places, and things make me feel. Now, doing this allows me to understand what my triggers are, which I then can take a deeper dive into to discover an area that I may need to heal. Okay? And I'll give you a really good personal example. I used to be really upset at someone for something that I felt that they did to me. Now, granted, what they did is what they did. How I felt is how I felt. But then when you start to peel the layers back and you start to really examine your place in how you're feeling, it always ends up coming back to you. And what I realized was I wasn't truly angry with someone showing me who they really were. I was angry that my expectations were too high, that I did not set boundaries. At the end of the day, I was angry with myself, right? And so this is what this exercise allows you to do. And then you say, well, why am I angry at myself? Well, maybe you're angry because you weren't consistent, because you didn't show up for yourself and this person did, and they're causing you to not like the parts about yourself that you have tried to hide, And so paying closer attention and tracking how you feel around different people, places, or things will not only allow you to take a deep dive into areas that might need some healing, but you all know I'm a huge journaler, and I find that it just helps me get my thoughts out for me to reflect. Because sometimes I'll write down stuff. I'm like, girl, you were tripping, okay? Like, what? So get this stuff out. You've got to get it out, whether you need to write it down. If art is your thing, color it out. If you like music, write it out. Write a song. No one has to hear it, okay? If that's not what you want to do. But this is all about healing. If you need to write a letter, I've written letters to people who have hurt me. Now, have I ever talked to them? No. But it allows me to get it all out. I burn it, or I just rip it up, throw it out. But whatever you need to do, pay attention to times when you start to feel weird, or when things just aren't sitting well with you. It's good to take a moment, pause, and reflect. And now that I can recognize what can cause me to spiral down, I go out of my way to maintain the peace that I've worked so hard to gain. And no matter what that looks like to others. So if that means, I can't show up to this event today because I need to take some time for myself. Real friends are going to be okay with that. Okay, and I don't care what the event is. Like, I really don't. It is about maintaining whatever you need in order to stay here on this earth for as long as possible, right? And so, for me, it's just a non-negotiable, and I am responsible for my mental health and wellness. No one else, and so it does not matter what it looks like. I think as long as you're communicating what your needs are, if people don't understand that, that's on them. But you have always got to prioritize you. Okay? And I will also say that this also allows me to kind of take stock and audit who's around me, what activities I do. Like, I know, I'll give you a really simple but good example. I had gone to one music fest 2 or 3 years ago, and absolutely loved it. I went by myself. It was a perfect vibe for me, and I normally don't do too well in crowds, especially like open crowds, but I don't know what it was. The vibe was just chef's kiss. Okay. I went back the following year and hated everything about it. It was too tight. It was too crowded. It was very inconvenient. The drop off wasn't good. The parking wasn't good. Like, nothing was like the year before I had gone. And it caused me not to enjoy myself. So do you think I bought a ticket for this year? Absolutely not. That does not change the fact that some people are going to go and have a great time. The important thing is that I'm not comparing their good time to what I think I should be doing, right? Because I know I could go buy a ticket, I could go have fun, or am I going to be miserable? And I know I'm going to be miserable. Been there, done that. You are going to learn that you do not have to keep putting yourself in situations where you don't feel good, regardless of what it looks like. Okay? You got to stick to what's true to you. Right now I feel like I'm rambling, but I just had to say that. Okay, so number 2, I stopped creating, and this all kind of goes together. I stopped creating a narrative around people and situations, and I have detached from an outcome. Let me explain. So, how many times have you met someone and they were nothing like how you imagined them to be in your head, right? Like, you are thinking you're getting ready to meet somebody for the first time, and maybe you have only followed them on social media, and then you meet them in real life and they're like rude or something. Or maybe you checked out a new restaurant on TikTok and you get there and it's horrible. And I think it's only human nature to create a narrative or have high expectations for someone, some place, something that we're all excited about. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, right? It's just human to be excited. However, you have to learn to detach yourself from an outcome, because if things don't show up, or if people don't turn out to be like the image that you've created in your mind, if you're like me, that starts the spiraling down. I knew this person wasn't no good. I knew it. I knew they were rude. I knew it. And then it's everybody like them is like this. And then you start going even further down the hole. I don't want to talk to anybody. People make me sick. I don't even want to deal with folks anymore because this one bad experience. And that's what was happening to me. I would have one bad experience and then it would just go down this rabbit hole where I'm like, everybody's like this. I don't want to deal with anyone. I don't want to go to any happy hours. I don't want to do any birthday party, dinner thingies. I'm out. Okay. Because people are peopling and I don't want to deal with it. And that's not fair. Okay. It's not fair. So now what you have to do, and what I'm challenging you to do, is focus on remaining present and accepting someone, something, someplace exactly how it's presenting itself to you. Don't add anything to it. Don't take anything away from it. Just accept it as it is. Because see, at the end of the day, that person who gave that review of the restaurant on TikTok that really, really enjoyed their experience, and you didn't, it doesn't change the fact that they still enjoyed their experience. It's just that it wasn't for you. But it doesn't make the restaurant a bad place. I encourage others who haven't gone to still go, because your palate could be different from Susie Q's. Or maybe if you do meet someone, understanding that we live in a world where social media can be fake sometimes, right? Like, there are times I've posted and I have been absolutely miserable, but did it out of the name of consistency. You know, I stopped doing that now, but like, social media will really have you out here fooled. Okay? And so whenever you can allow yourself to just be liberated to just live, let things be, accept things as they are, not trying to change the outcome, you will find so much peace and less anxiety. Now, don't get me wrong, it's hard, okay? It's a daily practice that I have found to really work for me. It just works for me, okay? And this is not permission to not have feelings. I still have feelings. I still, will get disappointed. I still may get excited, whatever the case may be. I feel the feels, but I don't allow them to drive my interactions with people or places or things. Okay? Hope that makes sense. Now, the last one. Somebody might find this controversial. And let me also say that this is all legal I'm not telling you to do anything illegal. I'm also not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. This is what worked for me. Okay. And so, as you all know, I am I've never held back on my experience with medication, depression, anxiety, insomnia. It worked for me. And so, what I did not like, though, was one med would cause one symptom and then they would give me something else to fix that, and I didn't like that. So initially I was on medication for depression, and then the depression was a upper, so it was making me like super super hyper, a little anxious at times. I was so hyper, and so they ended up giving me some medication for anxiety, and then that kind of lowered it a bit. But it didn't take the energy away, it just took the racing thoughts away, if that makes sense. And so because of that, I was staying up like crazy. Like I'm talking about maybe 2 or 3 hours of sleep a night and still functioning like I had 8 or 9 hours. And so then they gave me a pill for insomnia. And that is what I didn't like. I did not like that, because I felt like by the end of the day I was going to end up on 15 different pills, and I just didn't want that. And so while I have pulled back from the medication, I have replaced it with Delta 8 or Delta 9 gummies. Okay, but you can try THC, CBD, but for me, the Delta 8, Delta 9, I just don't like straight weed. I like the mixture of CBD and all that good stuff. And I use it to sleep. So it's mostly at night. I'm usually at about a half a gummy, and it knocks me right out, calms me down, gives me the best rest of my life. And I hate to say this now, and y'all know me, I'm a plus size cutie, okay? So I'm no Jack LaLanne here. I'm not telling you that I'm a nutritionist, but I'm telling you what I know. And after educating myself and learning that mainly a lot of African Americans are missing vitamin D and C, vitamin D being the cause, lack of vitamin D being the cause of depression, not getting direct sunlight, or not taking vitamin C, too much processed sugar, all of that can add to depressive thoughts, dark thoughts, believe it or not. And so lessening the processed sugar, more fruits, more veggies. I hate working out, but if I can get out and just maybe take a longer walk with my dog, get some sunlight, all of that helps. I've also started taking vitamin D and magnesium in the morning, and that has made a world of the difference as well for me. Have not found a gummy that I could take during the day. I'm pretty well versed with like the sativa indica hybrid products, but they all just put me to sleep. So I only take them at night. And it's not every day. It's just when I am wired. Like if I'm just up from like having a good day or whatever the case may be, I will pop a half edible just to go to sleep. So I love it. Puts me right to bed. I am open if you all are popping anything throughout the day. And again, this is all legal. Okay. I'm not telling you to do anything illegal. Look up the rules and the laws in the state that you live in. But this again has what has been working for me. So definitely something to put me to sleep at night, and then just making smarter decisions throughout the day, coupled with journaling and really monitoring things, has been super helpful for me. So yeah, your girl's thriving out here, okay? She's doing good. And like I said, this is a daily thing. This is not overnight. So I don't want you to think you're going to hop off this podcast and you're going to start journaling and popping weed gummies and life is just going to be perfect. It's not. Okay. Life is life. And she's showing out right now. And I don't like it. Okay. I feel like life is like, hold my beer. Y'all have not seen anything yet. And I just want you, I'm a realist too. Right. And your bills are still going to be there. People are still going to be peopling. Your job might still be getting on your nerves. There are things and factors that are they're just a part of growing up and being an adult. But I want you to walk away from this episode feeling empowered that you can control the controllables. Okay, you can control what you consume, who you hang out with, where you go. And I want you to walk away feeling empowered. Okay. Well, that brings us to the end, my friends. Again, I hope that you are walking away with some tips to help you with managing your mental health, because I care about you and I want you to thrive, and I don't want you to just exist. I want you to live. I want you to cross things off your bucket list. There was a point where I was just like, oh, there's so many things I want to do, but I'm not, or I don't deserve, or I don't, whatever these negative thoughts were. No, that's no longer our story. Okay. I'll be back this week for a bonus episode giving you a live update on my trip. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that notification. Please remember, as you go on throughout this week, you are more than enough. Okay. Make sure you maintain your peace. Pick those battles. Okay. Everything doesn't require your attention. Own every single room that you walk in. Act like you bought the building. Okay. Now go be great. And I'll see you right back here for a bonus episode, and then officially back on Sunday.